Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Xochitl. If you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with all of my videos. Today, I wanted to do a review on some new beauty products that I just picked up from Ulta. And this is a Black-owned beauty brand that you can find on their own website or on Ulta's website. And it is Uoma Beauty. So I picked up a couple of different products. I picked up their Say What foundation. Then we have their Stay Woke concealer, because you know, especially now, y'all gotta stay woke. Next, we picked up, this is their dual-ended highlighter sculpting sticks. This is a double take sculpt and strobe stick. So you got one for contouring and one for highlighting. And of course, you know me, I had to pick up a lipstick. So this is their Badass lipstick in the shade Whitney, a bright, oh my God. It looks so gorgeous. Do you see that bright pink? I'm so excited. I haven't used any of these products, and so you guys are going to check out my first impressions. I'm going to wear this throughout the day, do some check-ins, and see how I feel about these new products. So let's talk about the foundation really quick. So this comes in 51 different shades, and they actually won an Innovators Award for a makeup because 51 different shades, but it comes in 6 different formulas based off of kind of the concerns for your skin tone. So I'm in the category called Fair Lady, and then they have 5 others. Of course, I think below Fair Lady, it's like definitely for very, very like more lighter skin tones, and kind of categorizing like that made it a little bit easier to try to find my shade to kind of see where I kind of range. Of course, it's summertime, so I'm like, which color should I get? I ended up getting the shade, this is in the Fair Lady category, T2N. I was between T2N and T3N, but T3N seemed a little bit darker, but then I was like, do I get my regular shade, my tan shade? I wasn't as tan as I was right now, as you can see. So we're gonna see how this one works, but of course we got bronzer. But because the Fair Lady formula is said to kind of target skin concerns that are a little bit lighter, so a lot of that is going to be dryness, which accurate for me. I have very dry skin, so this is supposed to be a very hydrated formula. They also have maybe like for like the dark brown skin tones, a melanin skin tone concerns, you know, it's going to be a different type of formula. So I found that kind of interesting. I wonder if anybody else has tried this brand, and whatever kind of, you know, category you found your skin tone match in, do you feel like the formula also kind of addresses the concerns that you have? I found that interesting. But 51 different shades, so let's see what T2N, this is supposed to be a weightless soft matte hydrating foundation. Soft matte, I'm usually not too afraid of. I found some soft matte foundations that I actually do like. And in fact, this is hydrating, so could be a win, could not for me, but it's summertime, so now is the time to try soft matte foundations. To prep my skin, so all over my skin, I'm actually gonna do half and half just to see what I prefer since this is my first time. I feel like primers can really make a difference in your foundation. So all over my face, I actually have, this is my priming moisturizer. This is the Good Molecule silicone-free priming moisturizer, and I've actually really loved this in placement as my moisturizer and primer for a lot of my foundations. But just to see if I prefer it with a more traditional primer, I think on this side, my right side of my face, I'm gonna go in with the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, just to see if that makes a difference on how that holds up, or if maybe I don't enjoy it as much. So let's go with the Poreless Putty, since also I know a lot of people really enjoy Poreless Putty. Even me with dry skin, I do enjoy the Poreless Putty Primer as well. Ooh, careful with the brows. Tried to prep my face beforehand. The other thing that I'm going to do as well is I'm going to see, do I like it better with a makeup sponge or with a brush? This is my favorite Wet n Wild. This is their foundation, flat top foundation brush at $3, worth it. One of my favorite foundation brushes, and even for bronzer too. Since it's going to be a soft matte formula, but it's hydrating, not sure what to expect, I tend to prefer a beauty sponge with more like mattifying type of formula. So we'll see which one. Usually it's going to be a miracle if maybe the brush works as well. So we'll see from there. This is supposed to be a medium buildable full coverage. It might be a little bit too light. I mean, my legs have not caught up with my arms, so that's why I'm wearing a t-shirt today, so you can't really tell the difference. But just in case it's a little bit, wee bit too, what do you call it, light, we'll fix it with bronzer. So let's go in. I'm gonna start on this side of my face that's already been primed with my priming moisturizer. Let's see how far that goes. And let's go in with the brush so I can just let my primer sink in a little bit. Let's do this. So I'm gonna go in with the brush on here. And I'll see if there's a difference. Yeah, this is probably my usual skin tone, but we'll make it work. I've definitely tanned since I bought this foundation. Off camera, it like matches, but yeah. It's definitely kind of scented. It's not a bad scent, it smells nice, but for those of you who might be kind of irritable to scents, that might bother you a little bit. It's a pretty scent though. It's not like too overpowering. I was like, was it my brush or? I haven't smelled that scent before. So the coverage definitely is nice. I feel like I do get a full medium coverage, but it feels a little bit too matte for me already with the brush. Let's see if the sponge makes a difference, and it might just like go all over it. I've hydrated my face how I normally would. I have very dry skin, so I've gone in with my oils, my moisturizer, priming moisturizer, and then a little bit of that Mario Badescu face spray. So I think it's fine. It doesn't look like too overly drying with the brush, but I know we could get smoother. So let's see if I prefer the sponge, but the coverage is pretty nice. Nice medium coverage. I need a like soft matte luminous foundation finish. Let's check out with the sponge. And I feel like as it looks a lot lighter on camera than it does in person, but as I'm like applying this, as this side is drying, it feels like it's adjusting a little bit, which I think they made that claim. It's an adjustable foundation. Gonna bring that down. We are definitely gonna bronze today. First world problems, your summer color, your regular color. Ugh. And I don't burn, I tan, which I guess I appreciate, but I tan quick, so this probably matches my legs. That has tanned a little bit, so if you're tan, maybe I think I would have gone up the T3N in the Fair Lady, but if you haven't tanned, you're my usual skin tone, this would probably be the color. Don't you worry. Right off the bat, this is already a little bit too matte for my dry skin. I feel like someone with normal and maybe oily skin. We'll see once we set it with everything. So I'm really just trying to pounce that product in, just to kind of hydrate that with the sponge. But one layer is actually very good, very nice medium coverage. And the formula, it's like not super watery, but it's not super thick and creamy, so it feels very, very lightweight. It's definitely getting a little dry around my nose area already, so this might not be the best for dry skin. I just want to see how this builds. Will I get that full coverage, which I don't need? Right here. I definitely need something. I need just a hydrating, not soft matte hydrating. So, which I kind of predicted, but I still wanted to try it out and see, because there's definitely some soft mattes that work for dry skin, or levels of dry skin. I feel like my dry skin is just really dry. It builds nicely. I've used some foundations that just come off, but honestly I think one layer you're good with. And if you just want to spot conceal with this, and we have the concealer as well. So here it is. This is basically like one layer and like maybe a quarter or something, maybe a half. And color, I probably need a T3N now that I'm a tan. Don't worry, we will fix that. But it's already kind of looking, it's definitely soft matte. A little bit more matte than I need for my dry skin, so we'll see. Usually when I use my Max Fix Plus, I want to see how that kind of helps it settle into the skin a little bit. But let's try the rest of the products. So that is the Say What foundation, and depending on your skin category, it's gonna have a different color top. So mine is blue, and the According concealer that I bought, this is also Fair Lady T2, so I just kind of got those. So let's check out the Stay Woke concealer. And in case you guys are curious, the foundation is $39 and the concealer is $25. So it's definitely more on like the higher end side. Still, $39 is cheaper than your typical $45 and up Sephora concealer. So let's see if this concealer isn't too dark. Hopefully it's like either the same. It seems a little bit darker. So I'm just gonna go in. It's creamy. And the concealer I'm gonna set right away just because I have really bad creasing under my eyes. So let's go in. See how this blends. Blends pretty well. Blends quickly. That blends pretty nicely. Okay, it looks darker, but no, it's lighter or light, same or lighter than the foundation, so we'll get more of that highlighting effect. But of course, you don't have to like pick according to what they kind of suggest matching. You can pick even lighter if you want, a little bit like exact tone. But this isn't like too off from the foundation, just like a wee bit lighter. So let's see how that. It's creamy, but it doesn't feel like super hydrating. I wonder if this is going to be like more of a, ooh, that's nice, a kind of similar to the foundation soft matte finish. I'll read it right now, but it's not like my CoverGirl True Blend concealer, but it's not super matte like the Tarte Shape Tape. So it's definitely easier to blend and work with. And we'll see how it settles under the eyes. Ooh, that blends out really nice. The coverage is nice. I would say it's like a medium also coverage. It's definitely on the thicker side though. So if you have bad creasing under your eyes, that's what I'm gonna look out for, because I do. So that's underneath the eyes. It's definitely a thicker consistency. So I had to really, for me, because I have really bad creasing under my eyes, I had to really just try to blend that in there. And let's go ahead and set it before it creases. But the coverage is nice. Nice medium coverage, not too matte. I'm gonna go in with my NYX HD Finishing Powder and let's prep it to set underneath my eyes. So I like to, right before I set it, one more go through, and then let's set it right away. So pat that in there. And it looks really nice underneath the eyes. So the concealer is supposed to be a weightless, which yes, it does not feel heavy. It had a creamier consistency, but it does not feel heavy underneath the eyes. Full coverage, I would say more medium, maybe buildable to full coverage. Satin radiance, yes, so it's not like dewy, it's not super matte, it's like a nice soft matte satin finish and goes on seamlessly. I like the blendability of it. So let's see. It's supposed to cover dark circles as well, which I have, which I honestly, maybe depending on the color, if I really wanted to cover them, I would maybe go in with something darker, but I feel like really to cover dark circles, you're gonna need to go in with an orange concealer just to kind of color correct there. But I ain't mad at it. So next we have the Double Take. This is their Sculpt and Strobe Duo Stick. Also, I got it in the Fair Lady category just to kind of stick to it and see like just how accurate it would be. So we have the Sculpt, hopefully that's not too dark, and the Strobe. I think I was watching a video where they're like, ooh, is that gold gonna be a little bit too dark for me? But it, you know, ended up looking really nice. So this stick is $40 as well. You're getting two products though, so think about it, maybe 20 and 20. So let's go in. I'm gonna blend it out with a beauty blender, and then I'm also gonna blend it out with the sponge just to see what I kind of like a little bit better. So while we don't have powders or anything, let's see how it glides on. I'm really gonna need, I'm gonna add some Fix Plus probably in a bit just to blend this out. So let's go in and start to bronze. And actually I probably wouldn't even use a traditional powder bronzer just to see how this goes. I'm going in, you know, little by little in case this is like really pigmented. I was like, let's see here first, and then we can kind of add on. So usually when I do any type of like sculptor creamy powder, I like to go in with Little Fix Plus, just to really kind of loosen it up. And let's see, let's go in with a brush. So I'm gonna go in, this is my Sephora number 56 Flawless brush. Let's just blend that out. Looks dark. Ooh. I'll probably blend it out with my Beautyblender, but I just didn't want to lose too much of the product. It's definitely pigmented. So with the, what do you call it, with this brush, I'm just trying to keep as much of the coverage as possible, but I'll blend it out just Beautyblender so you guys can see on the other side. Just trying to see what technique works best. And then even when I go in with a brush, I like to kind of just blend it out further with the Beautyblender. So up to you what your preference is. I think mine is definitely brush and then Beautyblender, because sometimes I feel like whatever product, no matter like just Beautyblender, it might really soak up a bunch of the product. So as I normally would, let's just go in real quick with the Beautyblender on this side just to get the final product. And I just kind of like press it and even everything out, see? Really, really dark to a nice color. Don't worry, we're gonna clean that up as well. So let's go in just Beautyblender. I just feel like I like the control that I get with a like small brush like this, especially when we're doing like contour, but let's see with just straight up Beautyblender. I feel like sometimes just Beautyblender, just a little bit harder to control. It can get a little bit messier, but ooh. Not bad. I thought it was honestly gonna be too dark, but we're coming together. Ooh, I think it's just straight up with the Beautyblender. Does good. You just gotta be careful and just try to be as precise as possible. Ooh. Ooh, that's a nice color. Don't forget the bottom. And the bottom I like to drag down to the neck, especially if maybe it's a little bit, you have maybe even a darker foundation, just to kind of blend it in and make it look more like a shadow. That formula looks really nice on the face. Ooh. Yeah, I think I liked going just straight in with the Beautyblender. Usually I prefer the brush. So let me show you guys what I normally do. So I'll usually do this with powders, but since we're pretty much using like creams and stuff, I'm gonna take that concealer and I'm just gonna clean up the bottom. So if you went a little bit too low, no problem. You just do that. You don't need too much, especially when these like formulas are a little bit more full coverage. So now you can take the Beautyblender and I'm just gonna clean it down. And then you can blend it so those two kind of mesh. So if you're messy or you're a little bit quicker, that's just a quick way you guys can clean that up. I really like that. I'm a bronzer girl, contour girl, but yes, that formula sits very nicely. Even on a foundation that maybe isn't the best match for my skin type, on a soft matte, I can just imagine on my luminous and or dewy foundations. That looks really nice. It looks really natural. Like their color looks a lot darker, but when you blend it out, and honestly, I feel like depending on maybe what shade you kind of want to get, so if you want to keep it as pigmented as possible, maybe just do like a brush and then like a bigger one to like fully blend it out. But I think with the Beauty Blender, that works beautifully. So don't be afraid of it. But also, depending on how much you're kind of drawing on your face will make a difference too. So the less is better to begin with, and you know, kind of add on from there. But I like that sculpting. So let's check out the highlight. So the highlighter, with any stick highlight, I think it's important to warm it up with your hands, because sometimes it can just be a little bit too cold. So let's see. Ooh, holy crap, that's nice. That is creamy. Ooh, I like that. So I'm gonna go with my finger, and then let's press it in with the Beauty Blender. That's pretty though. It looks very, very gold in the packaging, but it's a nice tone for your face. I think this is one of the first times where I actually really like the dual-ended, the contour stick and the highlighter for like just me. Because I feel a lot of the times when there's dual-ended products like this, where it's the contour and the highlight, I feel like a lot of times the highlight color is just almost something that they just threw in there. Like, it really is not as complimentary. A lot of the times they're very ashy, they're very light, and I don't use them. So this though, they did a great job with this color combination, hopefully with the rest as well. Yes, they really thought about what highlight shade is going to complement the Fair Lady skin range. And I think this can complement, because I have T2, and I think they have like a T1 or W's and stuff like that. And then they have like in the 3s, maybe the 4s, I'm not sure. But I feel like this will be complementary within all of the range, especially, you know, if it's something like a little bit tanner. Ooh, that's really nice. It's a really nice skin finish. It's not too beaming, but I feel like I'm really not gonna go in with, what do you call it, a powder bronzer or anything. We're gonna limit the powders too, especially since this is a soft matte foundation, but it's going on really nicely on top of that soft matte foundation. So this is really creamy. I like it. I wasn't sure what to expect, especially with my fingers, warming it up with my fingers. So let's go down the bridge of the nose. So if you want a very natural, luminous, and then maybe you can even layer it on top. I can't stop. It's so creamy. It's very nice. It's not like a beaming highlight. It's a very nice complementary highlight, which some people, they really don't want beaming. They want very nice and natural, but it's like not super gold, and it's still going to complement my skin tone for my traditional, like what like tan colors I am now. So far, I'm a very big fan. So let's see how this kind of stays on. After the Match Stix Plus, I went in with some Milani Make It Last setting spray. I use setting spray for every foundation, just makes it last even longer. Now, with those sprays on my face, it's already like just not wanting to stay on my nose. It could be because of the highlight, but I mean, it was already looking kind of dry before. And basically my dry T-zone right here on my forehead and my nose is dry, as well as my chin. These are my dry spots. So on my driest spots, it's pretty dry already. Around my cheek area, which doesn't get very dry, it does, if anything, I think I'm liking it better on, sitting nicer better on this side, my left side, which I honestly just used my Good Molecules silicone-free priming moisturizer. It's just sitting a little bit better, a little bit just, it just lays nicer than on my Poreless Putty side, which just has maybe a little bit more texture. So far my left side is winning. Maybe that's the side I also went in with the brush as well, but still, other than my cheeks, everything just looking a little bit too textured. So I can already tell, maybe probably for dry skin, this is not going to be the one. I think oily to normal, this will look really beautiful. So let's try and get the lipstick on, because it's already late in the day. So for the lipstick, I got the shade Whitney, and let's swatch it. Ooh, that is pigmented. Ooh, beautiful, beautiful. I want to see if this is actually, no, it looks like a little bit brighter. I wanted to see if this is a dupe for my ColourPop Runaway, but I think ColourPop might be a little bit, they look very similar. Look very similar. ColourPop might just be a little bit deeper, whereas the Uoma, like honestly, slightly just brighter. but no wonder I gravitated towards this color. So you can kind of see the difference. Color pop just a little bit deeper. Almost an exact dupe. So what I'm gonna do before I put on the lipstick, especially since it's a very traditional lipstick, I'm just gonna line my lips, and this was the MAC Embrace Me. Let's go in with the lipstick. Ooh. It's not tugging, it's not too matte. I like that color. Beautiful, beautiful color. If you love your brights, I needed something for the summer. So this badass lipstick, their badass icon lipstick. So it's supposed to be infused with wild mango butter. It's pigment rich, yes. It's non-drying. So far non-drying, matte lipstick. It's matte, but yeah, it didn't tug on my lips or anything like that. Bold and unapologetic. So far so good. I'll let you guys know how it wears, but yes, pigmentation, I didn't have to do too many swipes, as you saw. That it was a pigment rich for sure. It's not one of those matte transfer proof lipsticks like I can already tell, which a lot of traditional lipsticks aren't, but we'll just see how it wears throughout the day. In general, probably have some snacks, a dinner. I'll check in a couple hours, but this is all of the makeup. It looks nice on camera. If anything, the foundation is the only thing where it's like I can already tell where it's going. The concealer under the eyes looks really nice. It's a nice satin finish, and I love that contoured highlight stick and the lipstick. So it's around 2:30. I know I got started a little bit later, but I'm just gonna be around the house doing things. I might sweat a little bit, which I'm kind of looking forward to, and seeing if that'll help the foundation a little bit. But I'll try to check in maybe about 4 hours or so with you guys and let you know how everything's going. But I really, it doesn't look and it doesn't feel like I'm wearing too much makeup in general. I think the heaviest thing or the most noticeable thing on my face is honestly probably the lipstick, since it is a more mattifying formula, but my face feels very, very lightweight. So I'll check in with you guys in a bit. Hey guys, all right, so I got busy and we're only gonna do the final check-in for the day. You know, when you kind of get in productive mode in the home and you start organizing things, putting things away, and you just can't stop. I almost didn't stop for dinner, but I did. So I wanted to do my final check-in and thoughts of what I think of all the products. So I have not retouched anything, not even my lipstick, which pretty impressive. I snacked, I made iced coffee, I drank lots of water, I ate dinner, and that is pretty good. I did not touch that up. Like, yes. The only thing to kind of worry about with any colorful lipstick, even a really like a liquid matte ones, are specifically when you're eating things, maybe like burgers, just something you really gotta a bite into. Sometimes it can get, especially if you have like larger lips like I do have, like they're pretty like well proportioned, but they're not tiny. So sometimes I'll get them, like I'll get a little stain on my chin, which I didn't, but today randomly I did get a little like notion, so I just kind of like dabbed that off, but like it didn't stain. Oh no, it kind of a little bit. But that was the most that it did. But that lasting power is amazing. No touch up, very matte. However, it did not dry up either, so I like the formula. A comfortable matte lipstick formula with very minimal like transferring within like what, 8 hours. It's almost like 10:30 here, so very impressed with the lipstick. The foundation, so as you can see on camera, it definitely looks a little bit more oily, not dewy, oily. And sometimes I'm like, okay, maybe, you know, like the oils kind of helped everything settle in a little bit, just give it a little bit of a cleaner look. But when I look at my mirror, not my favorite. It doesn't look as dry. However, I like everything about this foundation except for the finish. I love the coverage and medium to full coverage. I love the blendability. The buildability is great. I like the concept, but I feel like it's kind of tricky to kind of do. And also, sorry if you hear like stuff going off in the background. 4th of July. I don't know what we're celebrating, but people are going off with the fireworks. But I like the concept of catering not only to different skin tones, but different skin types and formulas. But I just feel like I already kind of knew what to maybe expect from this foundation, but I was like, maybe I'll be proved wrong. It's a soft, a matte hydrating foundation. Soft matte hydrating. Matte hydrating is very different than hydrating for what dry skin needs. Honestly, this really reminds me of how I felt when I tried the Fenty, the original Pro Filter foundation, where I loved everything about it. It just was not for my skin type. So that's the kind of vibes I'm getting off of this. But I would say the coverage is probably even more potent from the Uoma Beauty one. So if you have not medium, if you have normal to oily skin, I think check it out. I think you actually this might be the foundation for you. Dry skin, I'm hoping Uoma Beauty does what Fenty did, and you know, not all dry skin girls love this, so they specifically came out with a more luminous glow from within formula. So that's what I'm crossing my fingers for. So in case I don't see it, I'm gonna keep a lookout, but if not, you let me know so I can run and grab it, because it's not a bad product. Honestly, it's just not for dry skin, not for my dry skin specifically, my very, very dry skin. So everything else is freaking amazing. Next is the Stay Awoke Concealer. And that stayed on pretty nicely. What I really liked, it felt a little bit like a thicker consistency, but it didn't really like crease. Like it wasn't like visible creasing underneath my eyes, which is amazing because I have really, really bad creasing. And let's see, yeah, the dough, it is a doe foot applicator, so very, you know, similar to like that Tarte Shape Tape and the one that everybody's kind of coming out with. I love the color selection for the concealers as well. It's a nice satin finish. So for those of you who don't specifically like super hydrating concealers because they can come off a little bit oily underneath your eyes, I think this is a good option. I feel like this one's good for all skin types. If you're really, really dry, maybe kind of get something a little bit more hydrating. I have dry skin, but my under eyes can take on a little bit more. That's not like my driest area. So I do like me this is like a nice natural satin finish. It wasn't too drying, it wasn't too matte, it wasn't too dehydrating for underneath my eyes, and it held up nicely. That's the other thing, it didn't kind of come off throughout the day. So concealer win, yes. And as you can see for the foundation, definitely didn't hold up on my nose. Like you could just see all the dryness in case I missed that. I'm just too dry for this foundation. Caked up a little bit around my nose. So for me, I think the standout product surprisingly was the Double Take Sculpt and Strobe Stick. I think if the foundation was more suited for my skin type, this would have like stayed on more prominent, because when, you know, the foundation is a little bit too dry, my skin starts to kind of peel it off, but like I can still see it. I think it would have just stayed even better if the foundation was just more suited for my skin type. But I think this is my favorite product other than the lipstick. I think that this and the lipstick were my favorite products. If you love dual-ended sculpting sticks, I think check this out. This is like the first dual-ended sculpting and highlighting stick where I love both products. I feel like usually the highlighter is kind of like a throwaway product. Like a lot of companies don't really put too much thought into it, and it's just a very ashy color. It's just not very complimentary. But this golden shade I can see being so complimentary within this skin range. Like they definitely, like, if you land within the Fair Lady, like I do get the Fair Lady stick. If you are one of the other ranges, get that kind of recommended, because I think they really put so much thought into the color of it. But what I just love everything about this stick. It glided on beautifully, no tugging, as well as when I blended it out, so easy to blend out. There's some contour sticks that, yes, are easy to blend out, but they come off. I've blended out, that's why I use a brush with a lot of contour sticks sometimes, because just in with the Beautyblender, it like just takes off the product. So sometimes I'm like, let me leave some on with the brush and then just kind of dab with the Beautyblender. But you guys saw with even just the Beautyblender, I was like, ooh, damn, okay, changed my mind. Actually, this one works great, and I actually want to try it different ways now. So I want to try this before my foundation, and oof, I feel like that will look even more seamless. But it's definitely meant the highlighter for that glow from within. So for those of you who don't like an intense highlight, and I feel like you can really make this contour stick look really natural. So for those of you with dry skin who don't care to use powders, but you want a very natural finish, I think you're gonna like this. You can also intensify it I feel like if maybe you thought, ooh, it's a little bit too light if you're kind of in the higher ranges, you know, do one round and then do again. Like, surprisingly, I really liked this dual-ended stick. I've tried so many sculpting sticks. This is a top product. So if you love sculpting, try the Uoma Beauty sculpting stick. Love it. If you do, let me know, but ooh, beautiful. And then finally, like I talked about the lipstick, ooh, if you want lasting power, the other thing that I didn't mention, it's got like a nice little magnetic closure. So especially, that's the one thing with lipstick sometimes. Super cute color, works great, long lasting, but then you put it in your purse and guess what? It like the top comes off, so you kind of get that extra little safety there with the lipstick. If you are a lipstick hoarder, if you had lipsticks caps come off, you know the stress. If you're a lipstick addict like me, you know. So something like this, it seems so small, but for security purpose, to hold on to your favorite lipstick, especially if those like type of limited edition ones, yes, it is. I know with like my kind of grubby hands, it's all white. It looks beautiful. It looks sleek. So I know that's something I just got to be careful about and make sure to wash my hands before I finish everything else, and you know, foundation and stuff gets on there. But I love the sleekness of the packaging. So simple, and that little magnetic closure, it's got like a nice weight to it. So it makes it feel extra fancy. Overall, I think we found some great quality products within Uoma Beauty. Even though the foundation didn't work for me, I think this is something I would still recommend to people with more normal to oily skin. Foundations are tricky. It's honestly just about finding the right type for your skin type, and this just was not it for my skin type, but the concealer was great. I thought that dual-ended sculpting and strobe stick were great, and the concealer was great. So like the fact that I liked the majority of the products, loved even, that I tried, I was like, wow, I'm actually looking forward to seeing what else they're gonna come out with. If anybody else has tried the Say What concealer and you liked it, let me know what type of skin type you are. Oh, also to mention, so the side that I did the Poreless Putty primer, I actually preferred it with just my Good Molecules priming moisturizer. So less is more for dry skin at least. I feel like I could just see a little bit more texture. It looks smoother as it could with the Good Molecules. So just FYI for anybody out there, different types of skin types. But if anybody else liked the foundation, I'm curious to see who it worked for. Regardless, I liked everything else. So that was pretty good. I honestly didn't know what to expect from these products. Hopefully, you know, they come out with more. I look forward to trying some more in the future. They got me with this lipstick though. Amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed this review and demo. First impressions of the Uoma Beauty products. Let me know what else you have tried out from their line or what else I need to try out. I'm hoping and wishing they come out with a more luminous foundation for us dry skin girls, because that would be a win. They're about inclusivity, so let's hope it's for skin types as well. But thank you guys so much for watching my video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all next time.